Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Breakdown, episode 128. We are your hosts, Tanya Lee and Johanna Burkhardt.
Hey.
So all month long, we are focusing on mediumship. And all month long, we have different guests on a variety of, different areas in mediumship. And today we wanted to talk about mediumship. And I'm really excited for this one because this is what actually started me off in my journey, was this form. And I didn't actually know what the term meant at the time. So I'm excited to really dive into this one.
I am too.
Yeah. So I looked up. So here's the thing. You know how I like to look up my terms and definitions
Yes.
and go through stuff. So I was like, all right, so let me just Google medical mediumship. Well, anytime you put anything with medical medium in, the first thing that comes up is Anthony Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, Anthony Williams owns this word. I'm pretty much sure like he has a patent at this point.
Copyrighted medical medium.
He is the medical medium. He wrote a book called Medical Medium: Secrets Behind Chronic and Mystery Illness and How to Finally Heal. So if there's anything on there, it's about that. But what is it? It's basically a medical mediumship is a medium who offers medical and health advice based on alleged communication with a spirit and usage of clair gifts. That's the basic terminology of it. Now, how people use medical mediumship is in all different variations. I know for my personal journey, going through an autoimmune disease and basically have, doctors pick and probe me for years and not being able to give me any guidance, I went the holistic route. So I fell into this. I fell really into this as to how to utilize my own gifts on this. And I was just blown away with it. So, yeah. And did you have that experience as well, Johanna? I know that on your journey a little bit too.
No, not, you would think with the medical problems that I had on my journey that it would be that, but no, it wasn't. It happened when I started doing energy work on clients. I started finding that I would see energetically in their blueprint, is what I call it. It's like their avatar. I would see these blockages or these issues, and then I would just receive the information of what was wrong, or what I like to say is what was really wrong. And then I was given the mask that it wore, right? So,
right.
And so I started, at the time I was working with a mentor, and I said, hey, I'm having these experiences, what is happening? Because they're all being validated. These people, I'm like finding medical issues.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, oh yes, you're going to be a great medical medium. I just laughed because I said, okay, if you say so, because I honestly, and I can't wait to talk to Don about this, but I don't like to give people bad news, as it is being a shaman, working with people on their shadow side is one thing, but when you have to tell someone something's wrong with them, it's not very fun.
Right.
So I just don't really like, it shows up and I use it, but it's not my main focus. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So our guest, as Johanna mentioned, is Dawn Wade of Sacred Medicine. We are very excited to have her on board. A little bit about Dawn. She is an intuitive healer and mentor with a uniquely holistic approach to healing and balancing the body of all levels. Dawn is adept at working with those experiencing physical illness or disease in any area of their life. Her work blends the energetic and the physical identifying of energetic patterns of physical symptoms, clearing blocks with foods, herbs, and physical practices that will be most supportive for, the particular symptoms of the individual. So this is something, guys, and everybody utilizes this a little bit different. So I'm really excited to see how Dawn utilizes her gifts on this. So if we can bring her on board and welcome her here.
Welcome, Dawn.
Hi. Thank
Hi,
you for having
Dawn.
me. So excited.
There she is.
Before we got too far in, I wanted to let people know that Dawn is running an awesome contest. She's going to be giving away 3 medical medium sessions, but that we're going to give you all the details on that towards the end of the episode. So stay tuned and post your questions.
For sure. So Dawn, I need to know, because, especially with you utilizing your gifts on this, when did you become aware of the actual medium practice when you're utilizing this as a medical medium?
I kept getting nudges.
Okay.
I was getting nudges, and I had that resistance. Like, I'm not into that field. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor, and having that fear and thinking it needed to look and be a certain way, and letting all of that go. And what I found was the excitement that I had of seeing things and finding the causes, the roots to them, and knowing that we don't have to live in illness or disease or in pain, that we could be free from it, and that our bodies are divine intelligence, and we have so many gifts that we could work through those issues. And so it just excited me more, and they kept nudging me, and I'm like, okay, I give in, I'm going to do this. And so it's been fun. It's been really an excitement, because it's like different situations or with different clients that come up, and so it's never all the same.
Now, do you find when you first started getting into this with these nudges that you got, like, because, that's some of the things that you go through, is these doubts of like, should I say something? Is this person really looking for this information? But what are some of the benefits that you have seen with the outcomes of this, of going through that process with an individual who has asked for actual help?
Well, one is it's working on all levels of the body. So we do work on the emotional, the mental, the physical, and the spiritual aspects. So, and I do have to say this up front too, because I don't want to, I want people to know that an accident is also something in pain that you can heal from. Sometimes people have surgery and you're like, I had the surgery, but my, shoulder still gives me a lot of pain. I can't move it. Well, your body could still heal from that. So it's not like set in stone that you have to have this your entire life.
I love that you mentioned that, because people don't realize that a lot of the time that there is ways to heal that. So I'm glad you said that.
Right. And there's things that happen around, that's just environmental, and that you're just not stuck with that you could definitely move forward with it.
Now, can you talk about, like, so walk us through, if a client comes to you in that sense, what are some of the things that you break down for them? I know you mentioned whether it's an illness and things like that, but is it just the root of the problem, or how do you walk them through this process? Because some of it can obviously be inner healing, right? Mental healing, but this is kind of an all around basis. It's mental and physical. And a lot of it is just
emotional.
Yeah, and emotional. But a lot of this is educating. And I know that was the process I went through, is education on my body. And what kind of support do you give on that level?
Well, first, what I do is I usually go by the guidance of my team. That's the first thing we look at. And I look at the physical body, how it is energetically, how the illness or disease may look or feel. Usually I get a visual on that, and where it's located, how to heal from it, what foods to support the body, because that's a big thing. Like I said, with your body being divine intelligence, it's usually telling you, hey, I need this also plant medicine to support me on a physical level as well. So I do break it down. Usually it's like the first is going to be more of a physical level, because I want the patient, or I say patient, scratch that client.
It is still a patient though. I mean, it is a patient.
It is a patient, a client, just to start feeling physically better. And then working on whatever the issue, the root cause is, if it's emotional, mental, and sometimes, it could also be ancestral, and in your genes as well. So I also take a look at that and work out the ways to heal from that aspect. And then, of course, then the last is the spiritual side of it. But definitely is listening to your body is your first clue, your body tuning into that physical pain, maybe you're having in your back or the sciatic nerve versus, tuning into that, what's going on here? Why is this? Why am I in pain? Why am I in discomfort? Why is this disease? And then moving from there of ways to heal. And that's why I said, that's why I go to the first is the foods, because the foods is so important. I mean, it's a part of Mother Earth that gives us this medicine naturally. And we've had this for thousands and thousands of years. And Western medicine comes along, we've only had Western medicine for just over 100 years, I believe. Don't hold me to that. But just over 100 years where we've had thousands of years of plant medicine. And I think that we really need to go back and take a look at that to support our bodies and to live a healthier life.
I am 100% with you, especially with how processed food is.
Mm-hmm.
And, just not being aware, just not being mindful of what we're putting into our bodies. And
no, and I want to say something about that before you keep going.
Yeah.
I was one of those people that thought, and this is just, I know we don't want to go real down the rabbit hole of the food topic, but on a basis that I want to bring up is that I recently got to tour a organic hemp farm. And for multiple reasons, that was an awesome experience. But the one thing that hit me home the most was I used to bitch about the prices of organic food because I'm like, they're not putting pesticides. They're not doing this. Why does it cost more? And then I toured an organic farm, and he also has fruit trees and things like that on there. The work that it goes into nurturing the soil so that the food is nurtured, so it can nurture our body, is insane. It is worth every penny that you pay. I mean, it is so amazing. I had a whole new appreciation. So I wanted to throw that out there because I know there's a lot of people that don't buy organic fruit and vegetables but it's worth it.
It is. And with that being said too, is when the farms are putting that love and appreciation into their plants or herbs or whatever they are growing, it also carries in a higher vibration for our bodies. So that's what we have to consider too. And there's sometimes where maybe I'm looking for a particular item that might not be organic. Well, I'm going to go to that produce and regular, and I'm going to pick that fruit or that vegetable based on that vibration that I'm receiving. So I will just, intuitively pick what's best for my body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you are going through with a client, are you breaking it down to them as to like working a level of saying, okay, I don't know, let's just say we have a sample of my autoimmune disorder. Okay. So you would break it down as what the emotional effect is, some of the blockages that may come up. And then you would come up with some kind of regimens of, some kind of foods or things that we can work through together. Is that how you approach
supplements?
Yeah.
Yes. So what I do is I look at all aspects to begin with. I want to know detail. I'm a detail-oriented person. So I want to know the ins and outs and whys and hows and what we can do. So with that is, I do offer a one-on-one coaching program too, which I recommend for the coaching program if you have, depending on where your circumstances are. And that breaks down to the going first with the foods, working out the emotional, mental patterns, beliefs, whatever's going on there. And also in the cells too, I don't want to forget that too on the physical body, because I do a lot of the healing on the cellular structure as well. So, and then I also incorporate crystalline energy as well into the healing. So I look at all aspects, and then I come up with you and I let you know, okay, this is what I saw if it's ancestral, or this is the belief pattern. This is how I saw maybe your organ or your physical body look, maybe the structure of it, maybe what color it needed in the healing. And of course, then the foods to help support you throughout. The one-on-one coaching program kind of gives you all of that into one, of the healing and of all my modalities, as well as the tools, to carry on through. And I work with you on the spiritual level as well with that. So it does break down whatever I'm guided to give on that.
Right. I think it's important to tell our audience as well too. Like, even though we're throwing the term out here, medical mediumship. Mediumship is so broad. Okay. Everybody utilizes their gifts. Although we all have clairs, all that we utilize these, we utilize them all in a unique way. So every medium that you run into, or that when they put things together, can really come out to this amazing gift all alone. And we all are about finding authentic people who do this, because the more authentic you are in your passion and in to really heal and help people, those are the individuals that are actually making a huge difference, because you're educating people. You are telling them, like how to, just helping them utilize their own gifts,
themselves.
Yeah, skill themselves. And that was like one of the biggest things for me and my mentors, is them, with me just basically saying, your body's your map. Everybody's body is different. Everybody's emotions are different. Even though we all have, what anger and sadness is, we all hold it differently. And, to be able to give people the confidence to do that and to be able to utilize their own intuition and their own skills is something that's amazing to give out to other people. So, even though that Dawn is a medical medium and she does all these other things, just keep in mind that everybody is unique. So when you are drawn to someone, don't ignore it, because there's probably a reason why you're drawn to them.
I have a funny story about this. So how the Dawn came about being on this show is pretty funny. So I don't know, probably in August, I kept hearing her name, and her and I met through another friend, and we hadn't really talked in a little while. I don't think we had talked in probably a couple of months. And so anyway, I kept hearing her name, and I was getting ready to enroll in a program. I thought, well, I don't know, maybe she's supposed to be in this program. So I said, reach out to her, and we get on the phone. We start chatting about, girl stuff, woo stuff, blah, blah, blah.
Woo stuff.
Woo stuff. And I don't think anything ever came about it. And I let it go, and we stayed in touch. And then we had Amy Robinson on our show, and she offered, she said, I have a whole slew of medical mediums and all these other people that would love to be on your show. And I said, good, we need a medical medium. She sends me the name, and it's Dawn Wade. And I just started laughing. But before I even offered her the show, I have been battling with thyroid problems. And so I am in a course right now, and I reached out to my instructor, and he did a little journey, and he comes back and he says, not only was I holding ancestral pain, trauma from my mother's mother in my cells, but that I had a thyroid imbalance. But the key was that I needed to find somebody, because it's really hard for us to see these things for ourselves. Okay. It just is when you're in this world. I needed to find somebody that was going to bring in both aspects, the medical and the energetic stuff that we bring down from other lifetimes and in our lineage. And when Dawn and I were talking to prepare her for the show, she starts talking about all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, that was why I was hearing your name. They were taking me to you because they knew who you were. You knew that I trusted you, and you had the ability to guide me. So it's so important that when you feel the urge and drawn to somebody, to listen to it.
Really. It's very true. It's very true. So Dawn, do you have any experiences, or can you tell us some tales on some cases or experience that you had with utilizing your gifts that you were mind blown by?
Well, there's always a few, but yes, I have one in particular because I just did some work on him last week, and he had a torn aorta a couple years ago, and the surgeon did really great work in helping him through that. And since then, he did do some diet changes and mental as well, and just slowing down and enjoying life. but he was struggling because he had a lot of mental fog, wasn't sometimes walking straight, was having a lot of headaches. And we had talked, and I said, okay, well, let's go ahead and get together. And we did. And I found that, well, I kind of knew beforehand, but I knew is that the medication he was taking alongside of his holding on to so much mental energy for over a period of time, that his brain, like the neurons and the pathways, was just like a collision course. And it was, I'm like, no wonder why he has problems focusing. I could see it and I could feel it, and see everything that was happening at so much at once. And the healing session that I did with my spirit guide, which I just truly love when we were together on this particular one, and just working with him and calming it down and kind of building and restructuring those pathways and having that more of the ease and flow of a I should say a healthy mind. So that was just, to me, as an amazing experience. And then of course we worked with his aorta, because the other one is a little kind of getting deflated. So we were working through the cells and kind of strengthening the pipes. And so work like that to me is amazing. And to me, it's more or less my guides working through me, and I'm just taking it all in as they're going to town. But it's amazing to see how the structure is and how the brain is actually working. And with that too, is that my mom, a few years back, I kind of was told, hey, tune into mom. And I did, and I had noticed that she started getting a clogging in her artery again. And it was great that we just kind of pushed it right through, did some healing. And to me, it's like, that's an opportunity that saved her life. So those are just experiences that I just hold so dear to my heart, that I just feel so honored to be a part of. And that, it's just however ways that I could help a person just to live happier or to embrace life in such a positive way is such an amazing feeling. And that just kind of brings me to tears, because I know we are not stuck. We don't have to live with this, in illness.
Yeah.
And so to be able to help somebody else is a gift to me.
It is,
Really.
but I want to say this because I know what it feels like when on the very beginning awareness of my awakening, I had a lot of health issues going on, and I was in a lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty because the doctors could not find anything. I mean, I went through ICU. I had like 35 doctors that looked at me. I was on all these medications, and I wanted to, I never did back then, but I wanted to go to a medical medium because I wanted someone to tell me, listen, these doctors that spent God knows how much on their education have no clue what's wrong with me and are basically telling me that I'm crazy. So, and so if someone gets into that energy and they come to you, and I mean, one, do you even do those kind of readings where you diagnose somebody? And two, how do you handle that? Because I also feel that sometimes that fear creates that breeding ground and almost makes that, that's almost like we're manifesting it to grow and develop more. So how do you handle that type of situation?
That's a good question. One is, I don't like to diagnose because I'm not a doctor. But what I do is I like to work with someone to know that there is other alternatives, and that I think with the medical Western medicine is they know how to treat the symptoms. And I know a lot of doctors, they don't even get in medical school, they don't even have to take any nutrition courses. So there's a lot of great technology out there for different circumstances, which are wonderful. But it's just, I think it's coming with compassion and understanding, is that they're kind of at the brink's end. Like I just want some guidance and some help. So I think it's kind of coming in with a lot of compassion for that person and understanding where they're coming from, and take those small steps and to be there to support them and to know that everything's going to be okay, that I'm here for you and you'll get through this. And, even it's just working out the simplest things. I think I just always hope that I could bring some type of peace into their heart, because you don't have to live with this illness. And like I said before, with like the mindset too has to shift in your openness to receive, because that has to be a big part of it, because there is no quick little easy pill that's going to make it all better. So there is going to be some work that's involved.
Sure.
So,
But if someone doesn't know what's wrong with them, and in my case, years of going to a doctor, then ending up in ICU and all these things, and no medical doctors being able to say, hey, this is the problem. If someone comes to you and you don't diagnose, so would you send them away, or do you just look at them energetically and say, let me look at your body and do a scan and see what comes up?
Exactly. I do a scan. I look into the body. I look into the organs. I look at the chakras. I look at all of the different energies, and all the bodies. You kind of have to start from square one. Do a body scan first. Let's see where it's kind of hitting first. Maybe it's in your thyroid, and okay, let me shoot there first and see what I see. But then I will still continue on and look at the rest of the body to see what's going on. Yeah, absolutely.
I would think too, like Johanna, like you had a good pinpoint on there, is like when you're at the point when you're at the doctor's, I would feel that when Dawn would really be the one like to swoop into would be when the individual has basically done all means, right? Has been like, doctors can't figure out what's going on or anything like that. Or they're scared to go to a doctor, right? So they're fear-based and they're going to Dawn because they want to be open to something else, right? But I feel like there would be two cases. One where someone would be fearful of doctors. So they would approach you in the sense of, what's going wrong? How can I do this? Because they have that fear of doctors and medicine, Western medicine. Or the individuals where nothing's working and they are like, let's just be open to try anything. Because I was on the other frame. I was like, I will be open to try anything. I can't live like this for another 10 or 20, 25 years. So that's where I would think it is. It's like one or the other. Do you feel that's the case, Dawn, or do you get people more in the middle?
I kind of get more people in the middle. But I want to go back to, because years ago, I was suffering with diverticulitis. And when the first episode that I had, the doctor was telling me, don't you have any seeds, stay away from nuts and all this other stuff. And I didn't understand why. Well, I had it 2 more times and I was like, okay, I want to know why, what's causing it. Why is my body still reacting this way? And there were 3 different episodes. One was like a couple months with each other. Another one was a year later. Well, diverticulitis is also holding on to fear, stress, difficulty suppressing your feelings oftentimes.
My father-in-law has that.
So I had been doing the work with that, not really knowing that's what it was linked to at that time, but I was doing the work on that portion of my beliefs and my patterns and what I was holding on to. And then my body was kept telling me, hello, knock on the door. We need some other support here. Yeah, you've been working on this level, but this has been suppressed for so long that we need another intervention here to work on the physical body. And so that's where the foods really stepped in for me at that time. And I started exploring what foods were helping, what foods were having some issues, and going from that standpoint, because I had kind of already, like I said, been working on the issues of holding on and stress and all that other stuff. But now it's like, okay, let's do work on the physical side. So, and then it all came together and made sense. It was like, okay, because I think it's always the last of your body. Your body's first response is like, okay, you want to hold on to that feeling, we're going to show it to you.
Well, and then it takes, so you heal the energetic wound, right? Or you integrate it, I should say. And so you move through that piece. And what I have found, and I don't know if you found this with your clients, but when I work on somebody, I use my modality accelerates the healing. And so what I find is it gets worse really fast. And then it's like the next day it's gone. It like it accelerates that healing process. And so it doesn't like, it's not like a miracle or the next day it's gone, but that process was accelerated. But when do you do energy work on yourself? When you were doing that, did you do work on yourself?
On
And
the last,
that body part that I just cut myself off on is that takes so long for the physical aspect to heal. Like I've noticed that physical, even though you do the accelerated healing, like for myself, I'll work on something and then it takes like 3 or 4 days to heal. Now talk about if you're doing something that's big as yours or a thyroid problem, or like in Tanya's case, what is the average healing when you do all this kind of work? Like, is there a standard that you have seen with your clients?
not necessarily, because again, it's going to be a part of you. So that's why we kind of went back to working first the physical body, that it takes a little bit longer too. So eating the right foods to support you. But it's all going to depend on the person, because sometimes I have some clients who are stuck on the mental part of it, that they can't get past it. So it's kind of prolonging it longer. So it really varies from person to person and where they're at on their, spiritual journey or their health journey or wherever they're at. So there hasn't been like one shorter than the other, or, it's all within time, right? Divine timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's a good way of putting it. I know. I feel like and I know I keep going back to Anthony Williams because he's big on the celery juice and, starting some of these, nutritional ways
See a big
on there.
difference with the celery juice, other than I didn't sleep at night. I was wired and I drank it first thing in the morning.
I noticed it in definitely my skin for sure. Now I have skin issues, so I noticed that I was definitely more hydrated than typical, but I also get that with coconut water. So, but one of the things I wanted to point out with it is, what I find intriguing with him is because we're in a society now that I feel like pseudoscience especially people are more open to it because we have social media now. There's shows about mediums and now people are like seeing it. So they're seeing different perceptions of it. And the show's about, be open and expanding people's minds. But I feel like there's this weird merge happening now. I think there's a little bit more respect, especially for pseudoscience. Do you find that too, that gap's kind of going away, that soon maybe with Western, with Western science and just with the doctors and so forth, that you will actually be working together to help heal people?
I hope so. And I want to be a part of that.
Yeah,
I
me
absolutely
too.
want to be a part of that. And that's just what excites me. If we can move closer and closer, each day, I'm so grateful for that, because I think we have a great opportunity for some tremendous healing and to open the eyes of other physicians out there, knowing that there's so much more than just maybe with kidney failure, understanding it. And I'm hoping for it. I'm excited. And like I said, I'm hoping to be a part of that. That was probably one of my other visions that I had, was working in the hospital.
I can tell you, this is also a call to action, because I know there's a lot of doctors and surgeons, and I know one nurse personally who are medical intuitives or have some crazy, insane, empathic abilities to diagnose people just by walking by them. So it's a call to action that if you have these gifts and you work in the medical industry, to start using them in any way you can, legally, of course. But it will be nice when that day where they can just openly use their gifts with, because I do believe there should be a healthy balance of the two,
Mm-hmm.
But it's a call to action, because I know a lot of them who are afraid to even tell people that they have these gifts because they work in the Western medicine world. So I challenge those people.
Yeah, and I think it's more common than we think, especially for nurses. It's very an empathic thing to do, be there for somebody. They're drawn to that position for a reason. So, Yeah, I think once it becomes more natural that we are allowed to utilize these things to help people, I think it is going to make a huge difference. But also, the medicine world is weird too, because we have so much processed medicines and drugs, and it's like they look down upon plant medicines and so forth. Where John hit on it, like this is stuff that's been used for hundreds and hundreds of years. Why are we stopping utilizing certain herbs or things like that? Because and it's just because it's what we were brought up with or what we think we need. And a lot of it just becomes money hungry, where it's like, that's just the day and age of what we live. Look at our, health insurance and how that's taken off here. And I don't mean to get into like the statistics of it, but, those are things that I think hinder the fact of what really could happen here as, utilizing our own gifts to help heal ourselves, heal our own bodies,
Well,
giving people that empowerment.
I would rather use a holistic approach than a Western approach anyway. I don't even have health insurance because I'll go to an integrative doctor or a shaman or a health specialist or a medium before I would pay out of pocket to go to a Western doctor who's just going to charge me more money. I mean, not to get into to all that either, but I mean, if you have so much money, what are you going to choose? I'm not going to choose the other one.
Well, it's just like with big pharma, they could make a whole lot more money out of a one pill than they can an orange.
This is true. This is very true.
If the pharmacist starts peddling oranges, I don't know.
Now, do you, with just to, we have about a half hour here left. Do you have any helpful tips on people who are just trying to get themselves more healthy in a sense, or whether it's, and I know this is broad because every individual is different, but are there any tips that you can share with our audience on just, getting a kickstart on their day, or mind frame, or just for mental health and
or
for
supplements? If you know any
Well,
natural herbs and supplements too, that's the biggest one I get.
Well, the supplements I feel you have to be kind of careful with. For example, let's just bring back that nice orange, right? You got the orange, it's packed with vitamin C, it's got vitamin B, potassium, zinc, a lot of great things in this orange. Well, when you get a supplement that's a vitamin C, you're only getting that one component. Where out of the orange, you're getting all this other great components that work together in your body. So you don't want to really overdose on supplements.
What about like ashwagandha and maca and all these other things?
I love maca root.
Those are the kind of supplements I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm talking about those kind.
And I just trust, because again, I want to make sure that it's organic, it's held with care, not overdoing it on herbs, and you have to listen to your body with that. There are some herbs that kind of maybe are hot, but if your body's already hot temp, then you don't want another hot. You need something to balance that out. So it's really just being more aware, being cautious of your body. Listen to your body. And again, just remember, your body is divine intelligence, and it's telling you. If you're eating something and it doesn't feel right to you, okay, then there's a reason why. Switch to something else. You don't have to do the overload on vitamins. If you really just concentrate on eating more healthier foods, whole foods, and weed out what's working, what's not working, and really just tuning in and listening and being present and mindful of what you're going through. Allow yourself some peace and kindness and that space to really tune in. And because we all have healers within us, inside of us, and we've done this for forever. And so it just really is just listen in. If something's not feeling right to you, ask, question it, look into something else, because you're always guided to the right direction. As I feel, you're always guided. And just listen carefully.
Yeah, and I think that was probably the hardest thing for me because I was close to 300 pounds about 5 years ago. I was pretty and I didn't even know I had the weight on me. I was in just a bad mental state with my autoimmune disease and everything. And it was just, everything was taking a turmoil. But I didn't go in to lose weight. I was going in because I'm like, I have a skin issue. I look like, I have leprosy. What's going on? So like, I was more concerned about that. And, my big thing that saved me was meditation. Was, you know, once I was open the door to meditation, you know, when everyone ever asked me, what special diet were you on? What did you do? I was like, I meditated. I meditated a lot. And that's how I got started. I got mindful about what the hell I was putting in my fucking mouth, because it's so true. And, you know, and then the more people I started to be open about this and talk about and just educate myself on, they were telling me a little bit of tips here and there to do. And one of them that I use to this day is basically my own body as a pendulum. You know, when I'll pick up something and say, does this feel good? Should I have this in my body? And if my body rocks forward or back. So, I mean, you know, people do muscle tests and stuff like that, but those are the kind of tips that really helped me start off on there, because I think when you're really new to it, you don't really know what to do. You don't know how to trust yourself, right? You just know that you're like, okay, I need a vegetable today. I need, you know, a protein. I need, because that's, you know, we're taught in the level of that, right? Like this food triangle. And it's like,
Yeah,
it's so much more
I
than
threw
that,
out that pyramid out the door
right?
a long time ago.
But this is
It
what we're
is.
taught.
Yeah, but it is what we're taught. And
Yeah.
for a long time, I worked in the school district with the kitchen, and the foods that were coming in and out of there, I was just like amazed. I know.
Good.
That's a whole
No
nother
good.
subject we could talk about another day. But, you know, but it was really, I grew up with big meals, having that big piece of chicken or whatever it is, and vegetables, and the portions were outrageous. And so when I really started meditating, going within and really listening, at first I just kind of was eliminating the red meats and then just having chicken, but my stomach was going and I'm like, okay. But it was really hard for me at first to transition that, because I thought it had to be a certain way. I thought you had to have the chicken, you had to have this. And so the pyramid had to go. And it was like, started tuning, listening. Is like, no, you need leafy greens, you need some reds, you need some oranges, you need, you know, the yellows, all those wonderful, beautiful colored fruits and vegetables. And then I started that shift, and I started noticing everything changing within me. I got more energy. I was feeling really good. I lost 40 pounds, you know, and it was just like, it was a big change. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do eat that way as well, but there's times that when my body, when I feel like I need a little bit of meat for grounding, then I'll make sure it's an organic piece of like chicken or something. So, but the thing is to be kind to yourself. You know, when you're listening and trying different foods, you know, just avoid the greasy foods, the fatty foods for a while. The sugary foods have a lot of, you know, difficulties in your system as well.
Just the chemicals. If you look at a bag of Doritos, the chemicals that are in there are insane. And I was funny. There's this guy that Tanya and I watch from time to time, and I just happened to catch him right at the right time. And he was on this rant about how Doritos are not a plant, and that you should put in your body things that are living. Doritos are dead. And I was just dying. And I was like,
Francisco?
Yes, it was Francisco.
Yeah.
But it was so true, because, you know, I don't deprive myself either. But, you know, some days I eat a lot, some days I don't eat at all. And some days I'll go a week without eating, and it will just be maybe a smoothie or all liquid. But I had to adjust to that diet because they took meat away from me. They made it taste terrible. And I had it was like, if I ate it, I was going to not do well. I had to lose all animal products for a little while. And I can't bring meat back in, even good, organic, whatever meat. My body just busts out like, nope, this does not agree with you, because the vibration. Cows are such high vibrational beings that we weren't ever meant to digest them. I mean, it just wasn't supposed to be. But I used to have these doctors telling me, you have to eat 6 small meals a day, and you have to drink this. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Like, it just doesn't resonate, you know? And I finally just surrendered to it and was like, my weight or my health has nothing to do with how many meals I eat. It's what I eat and how I eat it. And that's mindfully.
And that's emotions too, because we can easily eat our emotions.
Oh yeah. I still have days where I do that. Listen, you know, sometimes it happens. But that's the thing. It's about balance. If I deprive myself and say I can't have something, my body starts hoarding because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you can't have something.
Yeah.
But if I'm allowed to have it, it's no big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I was a huge binge eater. I used to be able to like go all day because if I'm working, man, I don't have to eat. I'm like, I'm in the
About the
zone.
same
I
way.
don't eat. I forget to eat. I forget what that's even about. And then I come all of a sudden home and I'm like, I'm hangry. And then I used to be like, "Grr," and I would just like, I couldn't even cook the food because I was like, I was eating it while I was prepping it. It was bad. Like that's how I was brought up. Like that's what we did. We ate like that. And we had, nice meals and we had to have, specific things, but I do listen more. But outside of food too is just, exercise as well. And I feel like once you have more energy, you are doing that. They go hand in hand. I mean, this is all about having a spectrum of balance in everything. It's not just one thing over the other. Do you find that people fluctuate too? Because I know I do. Like sometimes I'm like so focused on just eating better, but I'm not moving around enough. And I see the difference, especially when I work a lot and I'm sitting on my ass for 12 hours and then I come home and I'm tired and I'm like, I feel better if I just went for a walk. Do you find, especially for people who may have like, I don't know, let's say a knee issue or anything like that, are you helping them come up with some, some help and tips on there as well for moving and just getting your energy to move?
Well, I think too, what it is also tuning into the body and finding out what the body wants. Because
Right.
sometimes it's, it may be that walk for the person. It may just be, maybe doing a couple squats or just the movement. Some people are just really called to dance.
All right.
I'm going to mute her for a second.
So some people are just called to dance and have that movement or to stretch. Stretching to me is wonderful. If I could have that nice stretch, I'm good. Certain times of the day, it's like, you know what, I need to go for a little walk, and I'll just walk around the building at work or different places. But I think it's just really, again, tuning into body. What do you want me? What do I need to do today?
Do you offer to teach people how? Because I'm a big proponent of talking to your body and communicating with your body. Because I mean, to me, it's like it's my car, right? It's my house.
Yes.
And, and that's how I always use my analogies. And so I want, like Tanya, I really had to learn my body with all the stuff that I was going through too. So I know if someone, I can just have a conversation with someone and pick up a part in their body, right? So when you said you have this one-on-one coaching and stuff, are you somebody that offers to teach them how to listen to their own body, how to communicate with their own body?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think you really need to tune in for that self-healing too. And knowing when you're picking those foods, or making that salad, what if there was that sugary item that you had earlier in the day that you didn't recognize? And so really tuning into that is key too. So yes, absolutely.
I wish I had that on my journey because it was 6 years of me figuring it out my own. I mean, I had a lot of people and mentors, but I was basically just, utilizing my own, and I'm grateful for it because it was a journey I had to learn. But man, how easier it would have been to have somebody who could have just educated me as to what it was, because I had no clue. I had no clue what was going on. I was just like, well, I'm going to try this approach now because this isn't working for me.
Yeah.
Or, why is all of a sudden my arm itchy and why do I have a rash here? And let me focus on this. Oh, it's an emotional issue that I'm holding on to stress here. That's where I hold my stress. So it's, you just start building your dictionary for your own body as to what it is. And everybody's body is different. Everybody's body is different. So what you might pinpoint in an individual might not be the same thing for them as to how they're seeing it. Right. So that's something that is so important, I think, to bring up too, because, you might be able to, I don't know, let's say your throat is closing and you're saying, okay, are you having trouble speaking or something like that? That person who's having trouble speaking, they might not feel it that way. They might feel it somewhere else, like tension in their neck or, so it's just a different dictionary. So for teaching people how to do that, I think is so important because they can be more aware when a sickness is coming on too, because it's that mindfulness, the cold's coming in, or, I'm not feeling well, I should start eating something a little bit better, or, boost
or
my
just
immune
trusting
system.
their intuition, teaching them to trust their intuition. Because, it is just concerning. And I feel for anybody that's ever had to go through that, where you go to the doctor and you're like, listen, my thyroid's messed up. Like, you don't have to give me a blood test. I know there's something wrong here. And they do all their testing and they're like, oh, you're within range. Well, what if that range ain't your range? And they don't, it's just different to me. Going to someone like Dawn or, other medical mediums, they are, just as she said, they're meeting you with compassion. They're willing to listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth and feel into that, where not all doctors are this way. I shouldn't classify them all, but when you're basically told that you're crazy, and then it creates that doubt in yourself, so if you feel like something's not right and your doctor's saying that you're okay, I would highly suggest going to someone like Dawn and just saying, hey, like, I know this is something ain't right here. You should know your body better than anybody else.
For sure. For sure. So listen, we are getting close. We're at 9 minutes here. But I just wanted, Dawn, I wanted to thank you, but also is there anything that you can tell us about sacred medicine or things so people know how to get a hold of you or contact you? And plus we need to talk about your great giveaway. But I just wanted to give you the floor on that. These are our shameless plugs that we allow.
Thank you. Yes, I just opened up the page Sacred Medicine with Dawn Wade. So I hope you could go there and check it out. It's brand new. But I do have my services in there as well. So I offer intuitive mediumship readings as well as Akashic records. And I do also offer the chakra alignment and attunement sessions, as well as the psychic surgery. So those are great for the people who maybe had surgery or have the pain from an accident or whatever. Those are great. Or ones who've been dealing with the situation, who knows the psychic surgery is just kind of necessary. So I go in there and I do that healing modality as well. So I do offer that separately, or like I said, or the one-on-one coaching where it kind of takes it all together and nice little package for the client.
I like the
Awesome.
idea of the coaching because it's a little bit of everything. You're really getting to know the person and then, helping them on their journeys as they go through it. I think that's really cool.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
All right. So let's talk about this contest. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for our audience.
I'm really excited. Saturday is my birthday, so I'm celebrating another year of life.
Yay. Happy early birthday.
Thank you. So I thought, what better gift to give than to give out free readings? So 3 is my number. It's my birth number. So I thought, well, 3 lucky winners. Let's go for it. So the readings will be a general regular reading session, nothing short, no minis, the full Monty.
Wow. They're getting the full package here.
When this closes, we are going to update the description. It's going to have a link directly to Dawn's Facebook page. So if you want to be considered or, in the mix for the drawing that she's going to pull, and she'll tell you when she's going to pull it, here's how to do it. You'll need to come back and check the link and go and like Dawn's page, and then let us know in the comments that you liked it. And if your YouTube handle is different than your name, you need to let us know who you are so she can verify that.
Yeah, because we're not going to know. So, if your name's Lizard and your name's Tom, we're not going to know Lizard and Tom that they match. So you have to let us know.
Right. And the great thing too is I'm allowing everyone who is going to be able to listen on the replay of this, that they will still have the opportunity to be in the drawing. It closes on my birthday, Saturday, October 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then I will be intuitively picking the winners that afternoon. And then I'll be posting on my Facebook page.
Excellent.
Yay. So make sure you subscribe to our channel. You go and come back and like or click that little link to her Facebook page. It's Sacred Medicine, again, with Dawn Wade. Like her page, please, and then let us know that you liked it. And then she's going to be checking both of those areas to make sure and get you entered. And we really appreciate you offering that. Our audience is lucky.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. We appreciate you coming on board here, especially for our month of mediumship. we're excited too, because I mean, this kind of all worked out hand in hand, because we also have another guest on next week, Amanda Heisman, and she's an intuitive teacher on eating. So we're going to really get that whole, I mean, you really just open the floor to go flow right now. So now we're going to go into nutrition and eating next week. So I'm excited for it. And yeah, so everybody, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dawn. And please, if you feel called, reach out to her, like her, follow her. She's an awesome person. And I think you'd really enjoy her time. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.